The following program is rated TVMA. This program contains topics and viewpoints from metaphysical professionals. Topics, conversations, insights, and experiences are meant for a mature adult audience and may not be suitable for younger viewers. All insights, experiences, and conversations contained in this show are meant as informational. Always consult either legal or medical professionals when needed. Viewer discretion is advised. Welcome to Terra Turas, the Metaphysical Roundtable. 5 professional readers coming together, including Brenda Lynn, Heather Lynn, Jamie Gibson, Reverend Pat Beers, Michael, and most importantly, you, the audience. Walk with us as we cover different aspects of the metaphysical and spiritual sides of life. Bring together our insight, experience, and discussion to a roundtable event. And now, here is tonight's host.
Good evening. Welcome to Terra Turas. Our panel tonight is excited to be here. We have a very exciting show. We're going to talk about magic. And I think that you'll find we all have similar and different views about it. It's going to be really interesting. First, I'd like to introduce everyone. We have Michael. We have Jamie Gibson.
Hi.
Brenda Lynn. And Reverend Pat Beers.
Hey, everybody.
I'm Heather Lynn. I'm your host tonight. This is my first time hosting. I'm super excited, a little nervous, but mostly excited to be here. So we were talking about how we were going to start the show, and I kind of had to giggle a little bit because I really want to know, guys, how's this whole Mercury retrograde going for you?
Oh my God.
I can't even get it out without laughing. So
It's
Glad
going.
it's ending. Glad that there's just a couple days of it left. It's been rough.
I went to the store today and turned around. I wanted just to immediately go home, but I'm standing in line and waiting, and believe it or not, a lady that's a little bit older than I am had been standing there waiting as well, but she turned around, she looked at me, she goes, "You look like the most patient man on the planet right now." Because I was just standing there, and I said, "Sweetheart, it took years to learn this face right here." She laughed. But I just...
Did you tell him not to let it fool you?
No, I didn't want to burst her bubble because she was so damn polite about it, you know? But I don't know about everybody else, but I've been ready to shoot everybody that I've come across. It's horrible. You know, I just want to crawl under a rock and die or something.
I know. That's what I was saying to Brenda last night. I'm just going to hide somewhere because it's just been especially this past week, has just been really a roller coaster for me.
And a lot of people are just downright mean. Patience is non-existent.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of other planetary stuff. I'm not an astrologer, but I've been told by an astrologer that some of us are being affected, especially this Mercury retrograde, because there's other planetary stuff going on. And so what's happening is we're going through like a transformative time. And it's a bit painful. It's a bit confusing. It's a bit murky. It's like going into the deep, dark waters. Yeah, I'm not grooving on it either.
Good thing I live by myself with my dog, because I think I'd be divorced this week.
Yeah, the divorce rate. I'm going to check and see what the divorce rate is, or the separation rate for this week. Yeah. This Mercury retrograde period.
Well, I've got a question for Heather. Are you ready for this? You're going to love it. Since you live in that wonderful land of Michigan, go Michigan, How do you feel about them now on December 6th saying recreational pot use is okay?
Honestly, I'm mostly just confused about what exactly that all means. Because I don't know what that means. They say it's legal. Is it really legal? How legal is legal?
I'm
and have
sorry.
they come up with all the guidelines and everything for it? So I don't know. I'm kind of I don't care either way, whatever. I was cool with it being like, having your medical card and, that kind of thing, but I don't really know what it means, I guess. So we'll find out. I think they may put some better things in place before it became legal. But I don't know. We'll see what happens. We'll be like, are there other places that have it legal for recreation? I don't
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, lots of places.
But like in the United States?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Colorado for forever. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. I thought it was just for medicinal. Okay.
Washington, Oregon. There's a lot.
Don't they do it like
California.
each district or each county or whatever in Colorado can decide whether or not they have it, or is it just like a free for all, like the whole state?
Yeah.
Statewide, as far as I know.
Okay. Yeah, that's how little I know about it, honestly. I'm not.
See, I was going to tease you. I'm sitting here laughing.
I mean, I'd rather people smoke pot than be, drunk driving. I mean, not smoke pot while you're driving, but
Yeah. I was just sitting.
I'm saying,
I was just sitting here laughing because I'm looking at you, and my brain is going, okay. And you said, well, which part? I don't understand. And I'm thinking, all right, what part are you not understanding there, dear? Are you not understanding marijuana or the word recreational? And it just made me laugh. I'm sorry.
There still has to be regulations. You know what I mean? It's still very regulated. And so I don't know what that means for business owners in our state. You know what I mean? I don't know. And I haven't looked into all the details of it, to be honest with you. I have an interesting view on the whole voting situation anyway. So that's another topic. But Mercury retrograde ends on my birthday on Friday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Yeah.
Yours is Friday?
Yeah.
What is the date? Mine's the 9th.
Mine's the 7th. So it's a new this. Yeah. Oh my gosh. It has been intense. I'm not an astrologer either, and I don't know all the ins and outs of it. I just know what I feel, and just like you guys were saying, it is requiring a certain depth of allowing a whole lot of extra pain that for me, I've been, even still pushing down. I feel like I'm always healing something. Yeah, and now I'm like, oh, but this one hurts really bad. And
yep.
I have to. Oh, I chose to.
Yep. No, it's like a lot of stuff's been coming up for me, especially the last 7 to 10 days. I'm like, I don't know. I'd rather stay in the dark, so I've been eating a lot.
It's a 9-year in Chinese astrology, so it's ending. So you're bringing it up to release it and let it go.
That resonates.
It just feels like it won't go. It just sits here.
Well, when you
but it will. It will. It's like we're going through an intense process and we're hitting a reset button. It's a refresh time. Most certainly. Mercury retrograde always is. And I think I've heard you say before, Jamie, that every year there's one that's more intense than the others.
Yep.
And this is probably that one. But it's definitely with all the other bizarre planetary activity, I think that this one is just really intense, especially for those of us who are really sensitive and empaths.
2018's just been crazy with all of the planets this year. I mean, this is an intense year compared to the last few for me.
Yeah. And don't forget your birthday is your New Year's Day. You get 2 of them. You get everyone else's New Year's, but your birthday is your own personal New Year's.
Yes. Yep. I'm looking forward to my New Year. I'm celebrating.
I have 2 yet.
And I'm about to enter a year 3, which is a very I talk with my hands.
Yeah, so do I.
Prosperous year, a year 3. So I'm pretty excited about to get out of this
Good.
gunk. I mean, I always am reminded that we can't rush the healing, because then we find ourselves doing it again because we don't do it right the first time.
Yeah. Well, this Mercury retrograde will remind us of that, because it gets to a standstill and it feels like we're going backwards, and it slows everything down. And this one has really, it's just sat me down and said, listen here, we're going to do this. And that's just the way it's been. I've experienced the same kind of thing. Yeah.
I'm glad. It gives me comfort to know that I'm not the only one feeling this, because those of us that are really sensitive, I mean, you feel it to completely disconnect. I mean, like Michael was saying, I wish I could just stay home and draw the shades back and not leave, because that would probably be best for everyone. But it probably would be best if Heather could just
have a timeout.
Yeah, have a timeout. Yes, Heather, there we go.
Yeah.
Guys, let's all take a timeout. But you feel it on a cosmic level. You're not just feeling your own, but I feel like I can say that safely. You guys feel it too on such a larger scale that it gets really intense. And when you realize, like, oh my gosh, what am I tapping into? And it's good because it brings awareness, but at the same time, you also have to disconnect from that. I have to consciously detach.
M&M's help.
Yeah, because we have things to do, so we do. We have to get through it. But one thing that I do feel during periods like this is that kind of relates to our topic, I guess, of magic. But what happens is, on the other side of it, magically, it's very liberating, and it's very cool, and it's very transforming. And there is a reset button in the future. It never feels like it when you're going through it, though. It's like I felt a time warp, like time is just stopped when it comes to, purging this stuff out and getting to that reset button and resetting. But I've been here before. So I do have radical faith in the process that it's not going to be this way. And there's going to be, something cool on the other side of this, because one of the things that my astrologer friend said is that this is a permanent shift. So it's not like one of those temporary, you're just super, you're at a super psychic time or a super connected time. This is a permanent shift that some of us are going through. And I'm pretty sure that everybody here on this panel is going through it on a permanent.
It really is magic. It really is magic. Like you said, the class and being in it and being grateful for it, I think is, for me, going back to gratitude, even when I'm like, I'd be grateful for. What do I need to get rid of? What is this trying to show me? What's the lesson? And then I get mad because I'm like, I don't want the freaking lesson. There's a lesson.
I know. I can just see Jamie.
Yeah.
What is this? Peeling the layers. What is this? Where are you? There you are, you little bugger.
Yeah, those are nicer words than I need.
Well, yeah. We're live.
Yeah.
I'm behaving.
Effing, bleep, 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 effing.
I get real creative sometimes. It helps reduce the stress, it's like blowing off steam in a good
Creative
way.
Swearing.
That's right.
Yes. I'm all about it. Hey, there's magic in them words too.
Yes.
There is. So we keep talking about magic. So I think it's time to transition into our magical evening. And together as a group, we just very briefly talked a little bit about what magic is to each of us. So I'm really excited to dive in and to really learn what it is to you guys, because I know what it is to me, and I know what some of my friends and family around me perceive magic as. And so I'm just really excited to learn about what you guys think. And I'd really like to start with Michael because he is obviously our only man here. And it's, sometimes it's like, are you going to get it word in edgewise? I don't know. We've got all these powerful women, and he obviously does have the patience of a saint because he's able to coordinate all of this and keep us all together. So, Michael, you want to start off on this magical discussion? I mean, can you even define magic?
My thought of magic, very honestly, may, or most of the time may not, coincide with what a lot of other people think. We all talk about magic, and we all understand manifestation. And because we are all working with manifestation, we all practice magic to some extent. And then you get into the neoclassic kinds of term when you are talking about magic. Whether you are Wiccan, pagan, a different theological, or you go and you read a book and it is old school magic, levitation, whatnot. And I had to write down, I actually stopped and took a look. The definition of magic is the ability to influence events by using mysterious or supernatural forces. And they talk about witchcraft, wizardry, all kinds of things. Harry Potter kind of magic. So depending upon where you stand in life is what you may have a relative viewpoint of magic itself. But I sit and I ponder about this a lot, probably more than I should over a period of time. And I stop and I think about this. If any of us apply ourselves through a process called Reiki healing, we are using a form of magic, whether we would like to think it or not. If you jump way back, if you were to bring one of our great ancestors, either Native American or off the Mayflower, either one, and stand them in front of the television and take the remote and click through a couple of channels, they're going to look at you like you are the greatest magic user in all of history because you have this magic window that is showing you these wonderful things and places and people. Now, we know it as technology. They would look at it as magic. So where are you in a scope of what you do in your life to say magic? Reiki healing. We take it for granted because we do it. We had to learn how to do it. Some it comes to as a gifted kind of thing. But to us, it is a form, a pattern, a way to get things done, how we accomplish things. In our viewpoint at that point, are we still considering it magic, or is it something that is a spiritual technology that we adapt to and use? Do we have actual magic? Not David Copperfield illusion or Harry Potter, but something that is similar. And I think about that because if you follow any theological path or spirituality, you know that you, I, every other person on the planet, we are a soul stuffed into a human body. And this human body is connected to stardust, the exploding suns that are now on the other side of the universe. We all came from the same point, but we all share the same material. We're stardust in a human body. Is that not magical in itself? When we manifest, and we say manifesting, we take our intention, our desire, we focus on an outcome. We work to achieve that outcome. And it does happen. We have therefore influenced a course of events. The term must at that point be magic. Are they going to burn us at the stake for it? I really don't think so. That kind of went out with Salem witches.
Not anymore. Oh.
But you see what I'm saying? So when you say magic, where in your life are you? What do you understand? What do you do? And how well are you open-minded to adapting to new technology? You know, and we could sit here for a couple of hours and honestly talk about it. I don't want to take up that kind of time. But in a nutshell, to me, that's magic.
Yeah, I agree. And like you said, the perspective of where you are. I mean, magic to me prior to my awakening is completely different than the meaning to me now that I know I'm a psychic, medium, empath, however you want to define it. It just has totally different meanings. So yes, Jamie, I feel like something good to say. What do you think magic is?
Magic. I love all the Harry Potter stuff. I love all the Mist of Avalon stuff. I mean, that's all very magical, but on the practical day to day, that's pretty much where I stay with the magic of how I'm creating my own world kind of thing. I mean, I think I mentioned it the other day. It's almost kind of like a baby feels magical when it turns over for the first time. You know, it produced magic for itself right there. So that's how I kind of look at magic in my life or in my client's life. It's kind of like, what are you creating? And you created that. So mine's a little bit more simple. I mean, I get all, I'm fascinated with all the other things that Mike talked about too. And I'm not closed off to those things, but for me and how I deal, that's the path I start to walk on the most.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. It is simple. It really can be very simple. I like to find the magic in every little daily thing. That's interesting. Yes, because I kind of in both. I kind of I've done some spell work and have an altar. I go to a Christian church. I'm kind of like, I don't know, maybe I'm a little bit of an oddball, but I go with what feels right. And to me, that's magic.
Yep, I agree.
Yes. Brenda, what do you have? What about magic? I feel like we all know we're creators, and you have that powerful goddess creator about you. So tell me.
Wow, I do.
No pressure. You
no
do.
pressure at all.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, thank you. So I feel, gosh, I find magic all over the place. I'm not much of a spell casting and stuff like that. I don't really participate in. I do like an altar though. And I do like, man, I feel magic in, healing actually. And watching somebody step into some type of authenticity within them. I think Jamie talked about that a couple shows ago. Like what's your favorite place to work with somebody? It's there. I just recently, a friend of mine is dealing with something and she had a procedure done and she wasn't feeling real happy and she had a procedure done and it's like the monster came out and she found happiness. And that is magic to me. That is total magic to see somebody that in touch with their body and that in touch with what's going on in them, and I started growing sprouts in a mason jar. And in 24 hours, those little seeds sprouted. And I was so excited. That's magic to me. But watching somebody transform, I did write something down, watching somebody transform and somebody connect, like when they have an aha moment and, you can feel it, you can feel them go, whoa, I get it. Aha, I got that, that is magic to me. Watched another friend of mine through, something tragic years ago, transform that recently into something where she's healing and she's helping others heal. Kids, actually, you know, and that is a long time transformation. But to me, that is magic. When I'm a Reiki master teacher, and so I do attunements, and when I watch somebody get in touch with their own energy and start using their Reiki and go, whoa, I can feel this. I can feel it through me. I can feel it coming out of my hands. I can feel it in my body. That is cool. When I have, when I experienced, what is the name of that book? The Celestine Prophecy.
Yeah.
When I read that book, and started looking at plant auras and watching plants breathe, that was magic. Watching somebody else learn how to see auras and look at plants breathe, that's magic. My dog, Rosemary, my big dog, you know, we just moved here back to Texas with a friend of mine, and she's got a little schnauzer, and he's a handful. He's a real handful. And, you know, I'm watching Rosemary, who's big, and this little guy is little, and he's just crazy about Rosemary. I guess there's something about Mary there. But I heard her say, because she adores my friend, and I heard her say, you know, I really like my new step human, but her little stud is a spaz. You know, and it's like I could hear her say that, and with kind of a sense of humor. That kind of stuff is what's magic to me. Every being has a story, you know, and that's always magical. And so orthomolecular medicine, food for medicine, that is magic to me. When I watch somebody change their diet and completely cleanse and transform and start to feel good, and, you know, and they change their eating habits. There's magic in just about everything that I experience. Yeah.
I could not agree more. That was so beautiful. All the little all my little truth bumps were out. That was beautiful. Yes, I think that's just like what you were saying. That's what changed my whole life. I was really sick, and I became well from, like you're saying, food as medicine, but just noticing all of the magic in everything just completely allowed me to heal my life in so many ways that I cannot even explain. That's so beautiful. Yeah, I'm super excited to hear what you have to say, and then we're gonna talk more about this, you guys. But I really wanted to get the basis of everybody's opinion on magic, because I think it's such an interesting thing, and just like Michael started us out with, it really is your perspective in life. Mm-hmm. And you always have, so I honor your perspective.
Well, I'm going way back, girls. I don't know if you were scouts or brownies or what, but I kept hearing this all day today. I've got something in my pocket that belongs across my face. I keep it very close to me in a most convenient place. I'll bet you never guess it if you guessed a long, long while. So I take it out and put it on. It's a great, big, magnificent smile. Have you ever noticed the magic in just smiling at someone sometimes, especially the clerks this time of year? And it's just, you know, Louise Hay says every day we should say, I love and approve of myself. Do you know how hard that is when you first start doing that? I couldn't say it without laughing. I couldn't get it out. I would start laughing and go, this is ridiculous. But if we don't love ourselves, nobody else will. And the biggest thing, like, it's snowing here and everything's just lightly snow covered and it's colder than I don't know what, but it's the magic of the change in everyone's attitude from that dark, dreary, the leaves are down, you know, everybody's cranky, and you smile. Or I look out there and I smile because my dogs love the snow so much. Thoughts are things and words have power, what we think we can create. So if I can I'll go, okay, you can have 5 minutes to throw your hissy fit here. You can have 5 minutes to be crabby, but then you got to get it together, okay? Because we affect everybody around us. Mm-hmm. If we're in a bad mood, all of a sudden everybody's in a bad mood. So they just kept telling me today, from the time I woke up this morning, I wasn't even out of bed yet, and they're talking to me about, it's a big magic smile. And I'm like, what? And then I started thinking about it all day. And so that's what magic is to me, that one little thing that changes your whole latitude, not your attitude, but your whole latitude. It takes you from being down in that hole trying to reach up to touch bottom to like, okay, I can do this. This too shall pass. Give me 5 minutes and things will be different. So I guess I take it back to the simplest possible thing I can, you know? Oh. And you can make somebody quit being really crabby if you just smile and say, it's going to be okay. I promise you it will be okay. Tomorrow, this won't matter at all.
I think we all have days we need to hear that. I think there are a lot of people out there that need to hear what you just said. And when you read that poem, oh my goodness, I could feel it everywhere around me. It was like you called the angels in to say it with us. That was beautiful. Smiling, that reminded me of, what's that book? The Magic of Thinking Big. Back before my awakened life, and I was reading all these self-help books because I was determined, like I knew that I could live a better life. I didn't understand the creating and manifesting, but that was one of the things, like one of the steps in the book is smile at everyone. And when somebody asks you how you're doing, you say, I'm great. That is your answer every time. And now, retrospectively, it's so amazing because it's still true. I just have a deeper understanding of it. But yeah, and we affect everyone around us, the whole level. So that's beautiful. Smile. Thank you, Pat. So, guys, I'm really interested to know. It doesn't sound like a lot of us do a whole bunch of spell work and, you know, that kind of thing. The altar. I'm not the only one that has an altar. Do you guys have a good story? And I don't want to get too much into manifesting but I mean, I think we all understanding that we are creators, and every single one of you said that, creating this, I'm creating that. And I actually found a meme the other day that said, your words are your spells. And to me, I'm thinking my words, immediately I'm thinking my thoughts are my spells. I mean, we are creating everything with what we're thinking and what we're saying out loud. Do you guys have like a really good manifestation story? Like just that total magic when you knew that something was for you and then magically here it is? Because I know I'm not the only one with that kind of story, right? Yes? Okay, I'm going to let whoever wants to go. I won't pick on you, but I really, tell me something super magical that you were like, this is magic. And it was.
I'll use my daughter as an example. She has grown up in a metaphysical family. Now, her father wasn't exactly always on board, but he respected it. He didn't know if he believed it or not. He was a research chemist, so if it's not there in black and white, it doesn't necessarily exist. She was just complaining. I have bought 2 phones compared to her one. So she needs a new phone. Mom, I just can't bring myself to spend $500, $700 on a phone. I just can't. Now, she said that 2 days before she went to work, and she works at a accounting firm, and there are 13 partners, and she supports 7 of them. She's only one of 9 administrative executive assistants. And she says, I guess around Christmas time, they'll put them on sale. She goes to work within 48 hours, and her main partner says, I'm sure you get a lot of emails and a lot of calls after hours. I think we should really provide you with a phone. So guess what she's going to have by the end of December? She's always been this way since she was a child. I go, thank you, Angels Universe, for providing me with whatever it is I'm seeking. Now, I may not get exactly what I'm looking for, but it'll come close. That little brat does this and gets exactly what she's seeking all the time. 47 years old. She got what was originally $2,500 couch. And by the time she got through with discounts and sales, and she won a raffle, it cost her $350 out of pocket. That was when she was like 22. So that's the way it works. I really believe if you trust, I'm back to my word trust. If we're meant to have it, it will be there, but we have to ask. But I always ask, giving thanks for having received. So it's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. I have a really silly one, but there was a big bag of salt at one of my local like merchant stores that like they just get random weird things. I go in there all the time. I always know, like it's like they call me on the, energetic telephone, like we have something here for you. So I show up and there's this huge 22-pound bag of Celtic sea salt. And I was like, oh, I knew immediately. As soon as I saw it, I was like, that is mine. I looked at it, it's $50. I'm like, why? I still felt like it was for me. I was like, all right, maybe I'll have somebody go in on it with me, whatever. I go back a week later and I'm talking to the lady who works there about this salt. I'm like, man, I'm going to have somebody go in on this bag of salt with me because I want it so bad. I happened to look down and they marked it down to $10 and it was 20% off of that. So I knew right when the first time I saw it, I knew it was for me. And then, I didn't have any, what do you call it, blocks up against the salt. So I was like, here you go, Heather. Here you go. No resistance.
Yeah.
Brenda, tell me.
Gosh, I'm thinking.
You just look like it's right there. That's why I said that.
Well, I'm thinking about ways that I've manifested more so than specific things.
Okay.
I think that, once, so what I love to do, that's one of my favorite things is vision boarding. There's two things, vision boarding and a crystal grid. These are, it's an amazing energy, and I did a really long-term, before I moved to Texas the first time in 2010, that year I had done, I'd learned crystal grids, and I had done a couple of vision boards. One was like spirituality and expression, and the other was health and energy, or health and love, or something like that. And there were all of these things, like I wanted to change the way I eat. I wanted to change my health. I wanted to be more youthful. I wanted to see happy cows. I wanted, whether it's plants or animals, to me, they all need to be treated kindly. They all feel, it was a lot around food, and a lot around changing my ideas about food and where I fit in the food chain, because we actually do fit in the food chain, and the humility to that. When I was leaving Texas, I had still had my vision boards from 2010, and this is 2016. And before I left, and I was looking at, everything is done except for the happy cows. I don't have happy cows in my, and so the people that whose house I was living in, they had some acreage, and guess what they brought? Happy cows. So that was the last thing. And then I did transform those vision boards, because now it's time for new. There was so much on there, and so much that happened, like the love I experienced, and the transformation that I experienced, and the way I experienced my relationships. And I was able to buy a house in that period. And, I moved to Texas, and, I really manifested a lot. And, at work, like my computer is here, and my vision boards were on the wall, right where I would work, so that I was looking at them all the time. So that was awesome. And then crystal grids were a lot of fun too. That's a really cool way to manifest. Have you tried those, Jamie?
Not yet. It's on my to-do list. My list is like this long of things.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it is very cool. very powerful. Yeah. So that's what I think. I just think of ways that I've manifested. But I think when you practice it, you shift and you just kind of start to vibrate at the frequency of manifesting. And it becomes a little more automatic, or which I think is magic in and of itself, because it's automatic and it's almost expected, not in a taking for granted kind of a way, but nope, the universe is good and kind to me, and I can expect these things to happen. I have radical faith that it happens, and it does. And so that's the way that's sort of the magic of manifesting that has happened for me, is that the bar is raised for my life. That's what I feel like. The bar is really raised, and I have radical faith that it's all going to be good. It always is. Always.
That is so beautiful. I think that your happy cow magic is than my salt magic. That is how, like, just what's that expression? The
cherry on top.
That is so sweet. I love that. And that is pure magic. I mean, just that you'd put that out there, and then to have, like you're saying, all these other things come to you, and then those happy cows. I feel it in my heart. That's beautiful. That is so
It was 2 mamas and 2 babies.
Wow.
So they were goddess cows and their children. Yep.
That is so cool. I love that. So do you guys know anyone that does? I mean, I don't know. I hate to even say real magic, because I feel like, to me, all of this is magic, and we're all creating. And like I said, to me, the words and the thoughts are creating. I taught a class last night on muscle response testing, and just seeing the faces of people once cause I had somebody come up, and it was somebody who was familiar with muscle testing, and I had just muscle tested her, like all the organs on her body, everything the day before. But, and I showed them a couple things, with the energy, when you move it down, they become weak, and you pull it back up and whatever. Well, if you've never done it before, how do you know she's not just dropping her arm, And so we're practicing, because the goal was to teach them how to do it themselves. So if you're at the grocery store, you're at the health food store, you can test yourself for what fits you best. And just to see the look on their face when I did it to them and their arm went down, and they were like, oh my God, this is real. The look on their face was priceless. It was so magical, because it's that, like, this is powerful. And I can do this, it's putting the power back in their own hands. Was really magical experience. Oh, you guys, magic. Have you ever, like, I read a book one time when I first became awakened. I read this book about, I don't even know. It might've been on paganism or how to be a psychic for dummies or something, like, really ridiculous. Okay. I had no idea where to start, and I didn't, like, know people. Okay. So I'm just, like, pulling out of whatever. And I'm reading this book, and it was something about witchcraft. It was specifically about witchcraft. And they were talking about intent. And if you're going to cast a spell and it's going to affect somebody else's life, and what that does, like, on a karmic level, what is that coming back to you, that kind of thing. What are your guys' thoughts on that kind of magic? Does it just tell me what I really want to know how you guys feel about, manifesting. I mean, we manifest, but what if it kind of involves somebody's free will or somebody else's life? How does that work for you guys? Whoever. Pat, what about you? I forgot to call on somebody. This is like, I'm the teacher.
I have several friends who are Wiccan, and they the the end of their thing always is that it harmed no one. And they're very, very aware of doing something that will affect someone else's life. Have you ever been so angry at someone that they're complaining to you about something or yelling at you, and you go, "Oh, I wish you'd just fall and break a leg or break," and they sprain their ankle really bad? You created that for them with the vehemence, with the attitude, with the intent that you put it out there. And and there are times when I know people are trying to send stuff to me that maybe is not so good for me. So I just smile and say, I return to sender with love, and may it be threefold to tenfold, whatever is appropriate for them. So I won't own it because y'all know Mary Ann Wykowski, the ghost whisperer. And she said, curses don't have any effect if you don't believe in them. Yes, they can affect you, but if you believe you're cursed, oh my gosh, you're feeding it, you're feeding it. And so I just send up people Pepto-Bismol pink hearts, or just ask that, okay, well, whatever you've sent to me, may it return to you, power of 3 or power of 10, whichever is most appropriate. And I smile. That's just my own goofy way of dealing with it.
You always have the perfect phrase or affirmation for everything, and I love it. Thank you for that. I learned every time you talk, I'm learning something. Beautifully said. I like that.
Comes with experience, you just get tired of, because if you go back to them with anger, you're on their level and they can only do you more harm, and you can only do yourself more harm. So God bless you through clenched teeth. Health, wealth, and happiness 5 states away.
That is beautiful. Michael, you've been up there for a while. What do you think? Because you're the one who mentioned stuff about the dark magic and that kind of thing. What do you think about that?
You see, I sit here with my mouth open because I want to say several things all at the same time. I unfortunately have seen things happen. I have never worked on that kind of a level as far as magic, whether people spell it with a C or a K. It doesn't really matter. It's the same thing. When you start to talk on levels of angelic or demonic, and people are out there say, well, I believe in heaven, but I don't believe in hell. Well, you have a problem. You have a massive imbalance of a problem right there on the spot. You can't say you believe in nothing but positivity and no negativity. It doesn't work. The world doesn't work that way. To see people gathered in a circle, all of us can accept that. And all of us don't have a problem with that. But just like Pat said, when you put the intent of an entire group of people behind, let's say that in this circle, if we're all holding hands and we all focus, that all that energy, no matter what we're doing, all goes to one person. And that person becomes a mouthpiece for this entire group of people. You're tied into that. So what is their intent? What are they doing? What is their desire? What is their will? It's just like Pat said. Is this person going to say, fall down and break your leg? It's going to happen. I will guarantee 9 times out of 10, somehow it's going to happen. Very close to that. Why? Because you have that much focus on one thing. Have I ever seen anybody levitate anything? No. Would I love to? Absolutely. But then let's jump to the other side of this. Has anybody ever experienced anything of the paranormal to where dishes are flying off the counter, or things are being thrown across the room, or things are being moved by an entity that we can't see? Somewhere in that is magic. And if you're going to boil it down just a little bit more from that, that entity, 9 times out of 10, was a person previously. And if you stop and you think about scientific for just a moment and say, well, take a look at this. Energy can neither be created nor destroyed. So whatever's throwing that plate now, with no hands, no nothing, had the same capability when they were alive. to do without their hands or anything else. So does it become magic, or is it a technology we don't understand? It's in us now. To me, it's in everybody. We just don't know how to use it, or we've forgotten how. That makes sense?
Mm-hmm. It makes perfect sense.
Now, I'm going to go back and I'm going to talk just for a minute more, and then we're going to take a break. But you asked about stories.
Yes.
And I was automatically drawn back to 19...
I skipped you. I'm so sorry.
Oh, no, Jamie's... I know Jamie's got a story, because I'm sitting right here looking at her face, and she's smiling.
I was so nervous about what to talk about that I jumped right back. I'm so sorry.
I'm going to tell you my story. Then we'll have Jamie. Then Jamie will tell her story. Then we'll take a break. But if I go back to the year my brother was a senior was 1983. So it had to be the summer of 1982. That would have put me at 15, thereabout. And it was right at that time when everything started manifesting in my life all over again. We lived in a small, I don't even know what they call them anymore. It cut a house into 4 pieces, and you own one corner and everybody else has the other 3 corners. And then there's a boatload of those houses all in an area. I went out. There was a stream. You cross over through the field, across the woods. There's a stream, a creek. And I'm like, during the wintertime, I had walked from our house up a pair of railroad tracks to go into town to visit somebody, and my legs were cold, and I took my hands, and I went, okay, just envision that your hands are nice and hot, and you're just going to rub down the outside of your pant leg for a minute, and your legs will warm up. And my legs did warm up. And I could not associate what I was doing with what was happening. What cause and result, I didn't know. So I went out. This is springtime. School's done.
Yeah, baby.
And I'm like, okay, I really want to see what the extent, what can I really do? So I went on this stream up and around, and I found one corner that it just felt right. So I took a small bunch of pebbles, and I created a pyramid, and I put a bigger rock on top. I said, now look, 3 days, I'm going to come back, and I want you to show me what direction is the next thing that's going to cause me harm going to be. And I went back down to a very different place. It had to be at least almost half a mile down the stream to a very different place, different types of woods, facing a different direction, everything. And it felt right, and I did the same thing, built a little pyramid, put a rock on top. Said the same thing. 3 days, I'm going to come back. Show me what direction this is going to happen. 3 days later, I came back. Both the rocks had fallen in the same direction. I looked on a map, a topographical map that my buddy had, found where I was at on this stream, where was the center of town, and I took a ruler. And this one, same thing, pointing in the very same direction. This is where we're going. So, somewhere... Now, I thought about that, but I was more intrigued at the fact that they both fell off, going in the same direction. It wasn't just some random kind of thing. 3 days later, I jumped on an airplane with our church group, headed to Paris. We were spending 2 weeks in France. And we traveled all over France. We landed in Paris. We were up in Paris. We were all the way over in Switzerland, all the way back down around Marseille. We stayed with other church families to help minimize the cost so we weren't paying for hotels and things like this. Gathered together it was probably, we had maybe 3 or 4 days left. Farmer and his wife and their kids had our entire church group, all the guys and girls, to their farm. And we were going to have dinner and then head to a monastery in Marseille where we were going to stay for the night. Big tree, big effing tire, like tractor tire, connected by a chain to a limb. And you know that chain is not light. And there's 3 or 4 of us swinging on this, and the farmer's watching, and all of a sudden, I saw his eyes get huge. And the next thing I know, my head hurts. And I'm laying on the ground. And I'm looking up at the sky, and I'm going, wow, those are pretty clouds. Associate pastor comes running over to me. All the kids are just standing there freaking out. Okay. Checks my head, and I'm like, what? A little bit of blood. I look down at the ground. Here's this massive pile of chain laying right next to me. Well, I could deduce what happened. Okay, the chain came and broke, and down it came. Well, the whole thing hit me in the top of the head. Associate pastor looks at me and says, Michael, you okay? I opened my mouth. Nothing came out. Nothing. I could not speak. That is the classic terminology of being knocked stupid. I could not speak. And I panicked. And I'm like, what happens if I can never talk in my life again? And something came in and calmed me down for the next, I want to say, an hour and a half. I couldn't say a word. I wanted to tell him all about the things that I'd seen during the day, and I wanted to tell him how much I enjoyed the farmers. I just sat there. The associate pastor's name, his name is Randy. He's driving the van. He had me sit right up front so he could keep an eye on me in case I had a concussion. The magical part of all of that, even though I asked to be shown where, in what direction, I never thought to extend it across the damn Atlantic Ocean into France. Where's the next bodily harm going to come? But there it was. But the magical thing that came to me was learning what it is to be still and not say anything. It's the first time it ever happened in my life. Not because somebody was saying, Michael, you're being bad, sit down and shut up. No, this was an overcoming. It's just me, quiet. And I loved it. Until finally, Randy asked me, he goes, are you doing okay over there? I said, yeah, I'm fine. He goes, are you sure? I said, yeah, I'm fine. I'm just going to keep looking out the window if you don't mind. That, to me, was magic. You're muted, Heather.
You're muted, Heather.
I see that. The kid got home and the dog was excited, so I muted myself. I was expecting that. That was so beautiful. Does anybody want to comment on that before we go to break?
I want to hear Jamie's story before we take a break.
Okay, I didn't know if you wanted to do it before break or after.
Yeah, because when we come back, I got another question for everybody.
Sounds good. Jamie, I don't know. That's a tough one to beat, man. I'm not even going to.
Yeah, well, when I was a kid, I did Ouija boards and everything, you know, slumber parties, Ouija boards, trying to lift each other up, that kind of stuff. My favorite shows were I Dream a Genie and Bewitched. They were my idols. I really wanted to live in those worlds. And I wanted Genie's bottle really bad. But anyway, as I got older and got more into, you know, playing with all of my knowledge and, you know, gifts and whatnot, I found myself starting to pull away from all of the magic stuff like that because I started getting scared. And I've come to realize there is a past life thing that keeps coming up of being burned and punished. So I'm working on that. So this has been a weird subject for me, but the one magical thing that I can tell you, I feel is magical, happened 25 years ago. I was going through a separation with my now ex-husband, and I was flying. My kids were staying in Texas with my parents, and I was flying back home to California and by myself. And while I was gone, he was moving out of the house. And so I was sitting in the plane and just really quiet. And this woman sat next to me. And she started talking to me. And normally I don't like to talk to people on the plane. I'm just like, leave me alone. But she started talking to me about her experience 25 years before, where she was going through exactly, like almost word for word, like it was my life she was talking about, and telling me she didn't know what was happening in my life when she started telling this story, but she started telling me all of this. And it just was like, to me, it was like being shown that you're going to make it through. Here's this angel that sat down next to you that you don't know. And she just told you everything that is going to happen in your life moving forward and how to get through what you're going through. And that's I know I've had other magical moments, but that's the one that just sits with me. Like, it's like I'm living it every time I think about it. It's just crazy. That's the most powerful one that I've experienced.
That's beautiful. Like, I'm glad we're going to a break because I'm kind of trying to not cry. So
I'm sorry.
No, so beautiful.
Mm.
Oh.
Jamie.
Yes.
I'm not going to chew on it like a dog with a soup bone, but do you avoid
Yes.
the term and everything more of choice?
Yes.
Or
Fear.
do you kind of avoid it more out of fear of what you could do?
Yeah. I think it's fear of what I could do and fear of what I did do and got hurt for it. Does that make sense? Like,
oh, very much.
I've had lifetimes where I was very powerful with magic. I know that. But I also know that I've had at least one that comes up really strongly where it was my death. It caused my death from punishment of it. So
Me too.
that still hasn't processed out of my spirit, so to speak, or out of my soul. So it's still kind of like every time I start to feel like coming into that again, there's something in me that's just like, shh, shh, shh.
Yeah, not right now.
Yeah.
I was curious because as you were talking about it, just even looking at your face, you can see, and I would honestly tell you, when the show is done, go back and watch the recording and watch your face, because you see this transition happening even while you're talking. And for a minute, it's you and somebody else like you, and then it comes back to you. And I'm like, okay. Yeah. I don't know if anybody else saw that or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. I relate to it, too. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, it's a scary feeling. I mean, I want to explore all of that more, but there's just something that keeps holding me back. And it's cool that everybody else does. I'm totally fine with other people. I'm nervous to let myself go there.
I don't blame you.
Yeah.
Jody, have you ever heard of Ho'oponopono?
Yes.
I'm sorry, please forgive me. I love you and thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I would really ask you to say that. And then don't ask me where it came from. I don't know. I think part of it was inspiration from Louise Hay, and I think part of it was maybe from the angels. But a long time ago, I was given, I forgive myself for all things real and imagined, past, present, future. I ask that anyone I may ever have harmed forgive me for all things real and imagined, past, present, future. I release myself and them in love and in light, and I demand that we be at peace. Because, it's just, unfortunately, the past is over and done, and we can't go back and change it. But being aware of it, and it's like you're growing out of it now. You're aware of what you did, so now it's time to go ahead and go forward and forgive yourself.
So crazy that it's from other lifetimes, though. It's like,
I know, but it's all the same thing. The energy comes, and so it's like, you would tell anyone else what I just told you. So what would you tell your client, your best friend? That you got to treat yourself with the same love and the same respect.
Yeah. Yeah. And like I said, I think that's some of the stuff that's been coming up this week that we talked about earlier too.
Yep.
It's like, oh God.
Yeah, definitely review time.
Yeah, I'm just going to get another bag of M&Ms. That's all.
I muscle tested myself and I needed chocolate ice cream yesterday.
There you go.
Because I was, giving an example of emotion, how it can, your emotions affect. And I was like, well, my physical body probably doesn't need it, but emotionally,
yeah,
is in order.
I used that a lot when I was pregnant. The baby needs this.
Yeah. Oh, guys, we're gonna take just a few minute break, right? And I do think I have to say this before the break, really super quick. I think that many of us and people who will choose to watch this show have past life things like that, like Jamie was talking about. And we were persecuted for generations, and our ancestors were persecuted for being powerful and for using magic. And so I relate to your, I'm like, sometimes I kind of dip my toe in a little bit, but yeah, that stuff all can be healed. And Pat just gave us a beautiful, beautiful way to do that. And there are people like myself that help other people heal those past life things and, soul detachments and stuff. So that's a whole different topic though, isn't it? It is all magic though, right? But pretty much summed it up right there. We're the creators and you can tell it, be done, right, Pat?
Right.
Beautiful. Okay, guys, we're going to take a 3-minute break and we'll be back with more magic. welcome back. They are definitely keeping me laughing this evening, which is good. That means I'm awake. Welcome back to Terra Turas. We are here with you this evening talking about magic. It's been pretty interesting so far, talking about different types of magic and what magic is to us. Sorry, probably hear the dog. That's why I muted myself. She got excited. Her owner got home. Okay, so I know that Mike has some question or a question for us. So we're going to go around and hear what everybody has to say about that. Mike, what do you have for us?
I have a question for everybody. And I'm curious to see, because it is more a reaction and morals kind of thing. If you were to walk in a public space, could be a library, could be just about anywhere, and you found somebody with, let's say, the Book of Necronomicon, and they were actually trying to work something magic out of that book, what would you do? Jamie?
I'd probably keep walking. I mean, I don't think I would confront them, but I would be doing stuff energetically or, telepathically, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Asking for support on that. Yeah, I'm not someone who confronts very well.
Pat?
I think I'd say, wow, that's an interesting book. What's it all about? What's the idea behind it? Try to get them to talk to me about it, maybe, and see if I could maybe make some suggestions about what we do returns to us, minimum threefold. Try to find some way to talk to them about what they're doing and why they're doing it. Not necessarily confrontational, just trying to get them to, because hopefully I'm going to plant the seed and they're going to figure out one way or the other. And it's their choice. I can't do much about it except to try to, offer some subtle guidance, maybe.
I agree. Brenda?
So, I'm pretty sure I would keep walking. I would do something. Imagine that, Jamie, similar to you.
That's why I'm like, you don't need both of us here.
I was going to say, I'm just going to start referring to the two of you as the twins.
I know.
Yeah. But the thing about it is probably really what I would do is I got this funny thing about like spell work and prayers and magic in that way. I really think that I would need to work on accepting it, and turn the other cheek, so to speak, and work on my work with God and let that be what it's going to be, and just turn away from it because, it's not my favorite thing, and it was just, we were talking on the break, and I was telling Jamie how I related so much to what she was talking about. About past life memory. Really, it's cell memory that's in us, and I experienced some of that also, big time. And so, I'm not one to walk up to or to confront. I figure if somebody wants my opinion about something, they'll ask me. Otherwise, it's none of my business. And if I have a problem with it, then I got some work to do. I got to work on acceptance.
Heather?
Well, I have to be honest with you. I don't even know what this book is. It feels very dark to me. And I don't mean to sound ignorant, but I really don't specifically know what it is. Do you is it just a book of dark spells? Is it?
The way that I would have to sum it up, and here again, it is only having read bits and portions of, thank God. But it is more, it's a tome of spells, a tome of darker sides of life, you know. It's not something that I would hand out on any street corner whatsoever, because it has. Okay, now if we flip the coin the other side, and say, you know, in the hands of a person that proclaims to be a Satanist, it would be close to akin to their Bible, I'm sure. Okay, it would be happy reading for them. You know, so what side of the tracks do you stand on would depend. But to me, I don't think it's a really happy kind of book. I hope that helps.
Well, to me, my perception has really shifted on the whole darkness thing in general. I mean, and I think you said it, Mike, you can't just only have positive, right? There is dark, there is light, there is balance, yin and yang. It's going to be there. But I truly feel that there is nothing outside of us that is attacking us. I know that there are a lot of people that go and cleanse houses and that kind of stuff. And I do the same thing. I cleanse my own space. But I truly feel, I guess I'll use an example so I'm a little clearer. There's somebody who continuously is getting attacked by dark entities, negative entities, however you want to say it. And they are going, you know, having a healer come into their home and cleanse their home and all this. And they have a session, you know, and it feels better afterwards, but then it's always coming back. Okay. It's not that things are always coming back, but it's more that, sorry for the interruption, but it's always that things are, it's within you. You know what I'm saying? So when you keep being told that something is attacking you, well, this person that keeps having this problem is going to keep having this problem because they believe that there is something that is constantly attacking them, attacking their energy. Now, I know that as psychic mediums, that you guys just pass at it. I mean, you can tell when people are sending you something that doesn't feel great. Okay? But you have the power to not let it. It doesn't have to affect you. I pass that again about the cursing. If somebody curses you, okay. But is that going to work if you don't believe you're cursed? If you know, but if you believe it, are you cursed? Well, you kind of are because you believe it. So a lot of these people that are constantly having the people come into their homes and, you know, detach cords and all this, I really believe that they need a healer to help them understand that these things are not outside of them, that it is within you and the power is within you to heal these things and to not allow these said negative entities or energies or whatever. I'm not saying they don't exist, they exist, but you don't have, nothing exists in you unless you allow it. So specifically this book, I don't know if I have some kind of moral obligation to interject on someone else's belief. I maybe like Jamie, I might send them love, send them healing energy. Maybe they're looking into this darkness and maybe they're trying to harm other people. I don't know. But if that is the case, it's because they have a deep inner desire to be healed, to heal. They have something that they can't deal with and they need love more, you know, maybe than somebody else. But I think we're all just seeking love. And when we turn around in the mirror, and maybe I feel like I keep saying this, but I think Pat said that, when you look around in the mirror and you tell yourself, I love you, I'm worthy, I'm beautiful. And then you find that love and you cultivate it and it grows and grows and grows. And then it's magical all over again. So I don't really feel like I have a moral obligation to, again, interject my beliefs or, you know, I mean, But I would definitely send some love because I feel like that whatever this energy is, it does have a darker nature to it. And maybe we need to keep spreading our light. I guess is how I feel. I just feel like I have the power. So love always wins. I feel I feel like that's a corny answer, but like I truly feel like does that answer? What about you, Mike? So tell me, what is you obviously have a good understanding of what this is. So what does I mean, what would you do? Do you feel obligated to interject or do you walk away? Like, and tell me, because I'm very intrigued.
Because of my own belief, both theological and spiritual. Theological tells me I came from heaven and I got stuffed into this meat suit. And it took me a long time to understand, okay, I'm a soul, but when you are in that realm, are you just called a soul or are you called an angel? So literally, we're all angels crammed inside a vehicle that lets us interact in the here and now, you know. But because of my experience in life, I would need to sit down next to whomever and say, hey, look, give me 10 minutes of your time. Let's talk. And I mean, let's really talk about what the hell you're trying to do and why. Because you're not going to be able to really do what you think you're going to do. And the outcome and effects that you're going to have are going to haunt you for the rest of your life. So let's take 10 minutes and figure out if that's what you really want to do. And if you do, I'll get up and walk away. God bless you. Have a good time. But most of the people would not have a conception of what they are getting ready to unleash. And I would not want that horror revisited on somebody else unless it is their absolute intention and desire to do so. So I would, me personally, no matter what I was doing, I would have to take 10 minutes and stop and go, oh shit, here, sit down, let's talk. Because that's heavy duty material. I mean, seriously, heavy duty material to me. I couldn't let that go at all. But that's me. And it's not to say that's good or bad or right or wrong. Truly. Does that make sense?
Interesting. It does. Yeah, I'm going to have to learn more about this. That's very interesting. I like your perspective because I feel your compassion towards it. And even like you said, sit down, let's chat. Again, to me, they're probably crying out for love on some level. And you're going to sit down and talk to them. And if they don't change their mind, okay. But at least you put that love and that energy into that person. So, and maybe that would be divine timing.
I'm going to change this. I'm going to change my answer just in a very here and now. Let's say there was something going on. Well, I don't even want to cross that bridge. If you have experienced something in your life that was vastly not meant to be or should not have been, and it did a lot of damage to you, and it took you years to understand it, years to comprehend it, would you not take 10 minutes of your time to make sure that didn't happen to somebody else? That's the way that I have to look at it. You know, we talk about, and this is kind of just slightly off topic, but we talk about magic. We talk about angelic and demonic. And to some of us, those are very loose or ethereal terms. And I know there are some of us that have experienced angelic and demonic. And those are the things that I would never, ever want anybody to experience. Angelic, 100% yes. To experience anything demonic, oh, hell no. You know, so can I prevent it? Can I do something that it doesn't happen again? I know Pat's been across that same bridge. I know very well that she has, and most of us, I believe, have been in the presence of that kind of yuck.
But what about the idea of your soul's contract? Perhaps that person, that was part of their plan to come into this lifetime and experience this or learn this.
Exactly.
You know, so
we don't interfere.
In
so
that,
that's where I come from, unless they're going to, you know, set the place on fire in that moment, you know, I just kind of, it's their plan, and I can send them love and light, but it's their path.
and if they, and to me, I agree, if in that 10 minutes that I'm talking with them, that I see they are hell-bent for leather to do whatever it is they're going to do, God bless you, have a good time. I'm done. I did what I could do. I'm out. That kind of thing. I think on that, you and I are saying very much the same thing. It very well could be.
I think a lot of people are curious about this stuff, but have really no idea what it is that they're delving into. And I just want them to stop and think and really look at what this is before they get so involved that they're kind of entrapped. I don't know what the word would be, but I've known people like that. So, I'm just going to check this out. Oh, you know, that could be kind of interesting. I might be able to. And I want them to just understand, you know, the little bit that they're looking at, just to make them aware. It's still their choice. It's still their free will. But I'm just trying to maybe have their eyes wide open. Did you ever watch that movie, Eyes Wide Shut?
Yeah.
What's her name? She's married to the singer now, the blonde. Not Gwyneth Paltrow. Is it Gwyneth Paltrow?
Nicole Kidman.
Kidman. Okay, and that was a very, very fascinating, amazing, terrifying movie all in one. And unfortunately, I know a lady who has lived a life very much like that, not by her choice, but by her parents' choice of having gotten into some of the stuff because of curiosity, and then got on this power kick because of what they discovered. And that's the only thing I want this person to realize, that it's okay to learn about things because then you know about them. But beware, you know, beware. Don't play with the Ouija board. Don't play with the Ouija board unless you're going to say the Lord's Prayer. You know, it's just one of those things that, you know.
Classic case, Ouija boards. You know, and it is a tool. It is not good or evil in and of itself. It's a tool. Right. You know,
how do you use it? What you take?
A rifle, a pistol, a tire wrench, a screwdriver. They're all tools. But they come with instructions, and the Ouija board has a way that is supposed to start or open, and also a way that stops or closes, right? Most people never close the damn thing, and that's when all hell breaks loose. Anyhow.
And always, speak to the high. You only want to talk to the highest and best, because angels will come through a Ouija board just as the lower energies will. And you have to be specific. Always, you only want to talk to the highest and best of the light. All negativity is hereby banished.
Yep. All goes back to intent. What is your intent in doing this? And you need to be clear, like what Pat said, to say a prayer, definitely. Michael, it really sounded like you had a very, at least one, your experience. I mean, I feel your passion for this, and I'm very intrigued. And I kind of felt you tiptoe around your story. So I don't know if it's something you want to share or not, but
not yet. There's going to come a time in a show.
There will be a time.
I know there will come a time in a show to where we delve into, I'm not going to say theological, but I will say something like angelic and demonic. It's an unavoidable kind of topic to me. I don't know how the rest of you feel.
It's all part of the same package. It's there.
It's part and parcel of who we are and what we do. We label it different things. You know, it's just the things that I have seen, the things that I've felt, the things that have happened. I got a tattoo I don't even know if people are going to be able to see
Move it the
this.
other way. There you go.
But this
Your mic
tattoo
away.
has a world, an infinity symbol, angel wings.
Ooh.
Thank you. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Beautiful.
That is beautiful.
I always thought before I got this done that it was a design for somebody else until Spirit said, 10th anniversary of September 11th, I went and had this done. The meaning of it, no matter where I go in the world, I'm going to fight for what I believe in. And because of who I actually am, meaning the angel wings, I'm going to be around forever. And that's kind of the synopsis and basis of the things that I've experienced in my lifetime. Just the good and the bad. It's part and parcel of who we are, what we do as readers. We don't pick and choose. My eyes just got open pretty damn wide, that's all.
That's powerful stuff. That's so powerful. I don't know if we have time for one more question, but I really wanted to make note, since we're on the topic of magic and we talked a little bit about witchcraft and a little bit about everything. I work with deities, with, lower G gods and goddesses all the time. My Reiki guide is the Egyptian goddess Ma'at. And they come to me, they want me to write. And it's a beautiful form of magic for me. And part of my, I don't even want to call it abilities. I don't feel like it's unique, but do you guys do these things? I mean, I think somebody said one time that they were driving down the road and Jesus was like,
Me.
beside the car. Was it you, Brenda? Okay, because I've totally been driving down the road and look over and been like, Jesus, like, what are you going on? Like it's a powerful, and the angels and all that is magic. So do you guys experience that stuff in your daily lives as well?
I'm sure it's there all the time, but there are times that I'm much more aware that it's there than not. One time being on our way to the Serpent Mound down in around Columbus, and the gal was driving too fast. It was very rainy. My girlfriend said I screamed. I didn't hear a sound. Car spinning around on a bridge, and I'm looking at the railing and the river down below. And all of a sudden the car stopped, and we were on the other side of the bridge, and we all looked at each other, because it didn't stop because she stopped it. It stopped because an angel, and we were facing the wrong direction. It turned us the right way, took us to the end of the bridge and put us down. So yeah, I'm aware that it's there, but there are times it's like, it's there.
In your face.
Yeah, in your face.
What about you guys? Anybody else? You guys don't, I don't know. I know I'm not the only one here that.
No, I've got guides coming in, that I'm aware of, and sometimes will sit in front of me. And I mean, I've got one, especially when I'm doing readings, I call him Craig because he reminds me of Craig Ferguson. Because I'll be doing readings and he'll be saying things to me to make me laugh, or to some really irreverent things. Especially when I'm on the hotline, I'm like, I can't be saying stuff like this on the hotline. So, it's just, it's kind of one of those things, the brother in the audience that's trying to, make faces at you when you're trying to be serious. Yeah, I have those kinds of things happen a lot.
Funny. They do have a sense of humor. Sense of humor.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Brenda. I'm just going to sit and
I
listen.
know. I'm like waiting for it.
I do. This is the thing about magic. I experience it different now than I did. before, and so some of this brings me back to some basics. I feel a huge sense of humor is the same kind of thing. It's a sense of humor. And yeah, but it's also, you know, I have different conversations now with guidance and spirit. And it's a unified, it's a lot of a unified experience too, nice. You know, more so than singular. So it's changed. But there, you know, I speak more directly with my guidance, and I think I speak more directly with people in general. I'm a lot more direct. And so I don't know, it doesn't feel to me like the magic is lost, but I think it can be interpreted that way, you know, by others. So, but I feel a sense of humor, and I feel more, it feels direct. And I appreciate that. I really like not having to work so hard to figure things out. You know what I mean? Like I like letting go, you know. I don't have to analyze every little symbol, you know, or it comes to me more clearly. And you know, I'm not religious, you know, but I can't call myself any religion, but I do really resonate with Mary Magdalene big time, with Jesus, who I call Yeshua. That's what he was called back in the time. So it's Yeshua to me, and Mary Magdalene, Mother Mary. And some of that is from my traditional upbringing. And then I have some, you know, I love Buddha too. Gosh, the autobiography of a yogi. Oh, talk about magic. If you want to go to India, read that book. There's a lot. There's a lot of energy that I experience. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, a lot.
I think as you evolve, as you evolve on a conscious level, like you said, it's a lot more unified. That's a good way to put it. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I like the vision of Jesus and Buddha playing chess together on the other side. That's one of my favorites. I happen to feel that the like the Sermon on the Mount, I've mentioned that book before, by Emmett Fox, is the version that I read. That is a Buddhist message. It is very, very Buddhist. It is very mindful. And I think he might have been in India for some of those lost years. You know, I think that he may have studied there. There's a book on that too called The Lost Years. Yes. That was really magical too. So those are the places that I like to go. Those are the places that I find magic. It's in the truth, whether it's a big truth or a small truth or a historical truth. Those are the places I go. And Jamie, I did remember the name. So.
Drum roll, please.
Okay.
The stone Jamie.
It's either, I wrote it down while we were sitting here. I'm like, oh, I got it. It's either rhodonite or rhodochrosite. It's one of those two. And I think
doesn't the rhodochrosite have green in it too?
No, the two are similar in name and similar in the way they look. I think the rhodochrosite is more muted in color, like more, I don't want to, it's not, it looks more like marbled, like a marbled stone.
Yeah. Where you have it, Jamie? Do you want to show us? We're almost done with the show, I believe. We're supposed to be
the magical crystal.
Yeah. So we were discussing what crystal this was, and Brenda was certain she remembered the name. And
yeah, I've got boatloads of crystals here, and I've got 5 of these, and for the life of me, I couldn't remember the name of it or what it did. And I'm like, Brenda, tell me.
Yeah. Since you're talking about crystal for a minute, I've got an odd question. Obsidian. I have an obsidian sphere.
Is it black or snowflake or red, mahogany?
Black. Pure black. And because it's been ground into a sphere, it has an eye on both sides. Have any of you ever heard of it becoming flat spotted? Like if you were to take it and set it on a disc, would it create a flat spot?
I don't know.
Mine did.
I have not.
Yeah, I do not.
Mine did, honest to God. It became so upset with me because it was packed away for so long that it literally got upset with me, and it is flat spotted. And it was a perfect sphere before I put it away because it's set right next to the crystal quartz sphere that I have. I had him as a pair, yin and yang. And now he's just upset, massively upset.
Yeah, boys do get upset easy, don't they?
Hey, if you ever saw my 3-year-old, if you put the wrong pair of socks on him, totally in agreement with that.
See, now they sell socks mismatched nowadays. What the hell? Have a pink one and a blue one.
Mismatched socks before it was cool, though.
Yeah.
Out of necessity.
Oh, everyone, we thank you for being here tonight. This has been so much fun. My cup truly is filled by being with these beautiful souls. So thank you to each of you. Thank you for hanging in there while I hosted, testing the waters. Brenda will be with us next week. Maybe did I jump the gun? I believe Brenda will be our host again. We're going to try to create some consistency. So you guys get to know us, and I can't wait to see you here next week, Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you for being here, and have a very magical night.
Good job, Heather.
Nice. Bye.